is Jeff Jensen. I'm with Entertainment Weekly, and I am very excited to welcome you to Science Channel's presentation of the Firefly 10th Anniversary Panel. I had a very long and florid intro that argues the importance of Firefly, but I think you know it. And we're running a little late, so let's get on with the thrilling heroics. I'd like to introduce the creators and cast, beginning with writer Jose Molina. Executive producer Tim Minear. This actor wanted to be introduced as bounty hunter and sandwich maker. You know him better as a leaf on the wind. Tight pants, or sometimes no pants. One word, river, summer cloud. A good doctor, a better brother, Sean Marr. This is the audience participation portion of the show. The hero of Canton, the man they call... Last but not least, the creator of Buffy, Angel, Dollhouse, Firefly, the director of the third biggest movie of all time, Joss Whedon. Stuff to do, so sit down. Oh, wait, come back. No, not you. Come back. I got this one. We have time for questions. I know you have a lot to ask. I know you have a lot to say. There are microphones positioned. You guys know the drill. You've been to Comic-Con. Joss Whedon. congratulations on a great summer so far for you. It's been 10 years since the beginning of Firefly. 10 years of this sort of amazing story of a show that has survived cancellation to become the phenomenon that it is. What does it mean to you to be here today on the 10th anniversary of Firefly?
Means I'm running on fumes, let's face it. I haven't come up with anything new, so I'm just hoping people will still watch this. What else could it possibly mean, except that we always knew from the very beginning that everything we were doing for the right reasons, in the right way, with the right people, that we were making something that was more than the sum of its parts, that we had the best cast I'll ever work with. We also had Alan, you know, it's not, it goes beyond Vindication. Vindication came a long time ago. It goes to a place of transcendence that I can't even describe without turning into a girly man. More of a girly man than I already am.
Nathan, I just love to ask you the same question. I mean, just, you know, you're in Castle right now, but... That was shameless. But Mal Reynolds, what does he mean to you, and what does it mean to be here today?
Oh. If I can get through this without crying, it'll look a lot cooler. Firefly was a lot of firsts for me. No one would give me a chance to be anything other than the number 5 guy, the lead girl's ex, the other dude who doesn't come in until later and then he leaves pretty early. He's good, but we don't know if he can carry a show. That's what I got all the time. No one would give me a chance. How am I gonna show anybody what I can do if no one will let me do it? And Joss Whedon was the guy that gave me the best character I've ever played, the best words I've ever come out of my mouth. That's where I'm gonna wrap it up.
Joss, 10 years ago when you created Firefly, what was on your mind? What kind of science fiction show did you want to create? How did it begin?
You know, at this point, I think it's so much in the vernacular that it seems old-fashioned, but I just wanted to make something that felt real, like a piece of history. I wanted to buck the system of all science fiction is lit with purple lights and, you know, has, you know, big green heads, and, you know, I just wanted to tell an American immigrant story. I wanted to tell a Western story, but I need spaceships or I get cranky.
And Tim Minear, you worked with Joss for years. I'd love to know, like, what were your thoughts when he said, "Hey, I want to, you know, make a science fiction Western"? Like, did you think that would be a hit show?
Oh, I never think anything Joss is going to do on TV is going to be a hit show.
That's fair.
It is fair. What I will say is that it was never in the plan for me to work on this show. I was working on Angel, television's TV's Angel. And my best friend came down to a set at Paramount and let me play with his spaceship. And it was about the coolest thing. The other spaceship. They're like, and here's my cargo bay. Look, I was a geeky kid growing up. I went to cons, and you know, that's what I did. And Joss Whedon, the coolest guy in Geekland, said, "Come be on my spaceship," and it means as much to me now as it did then, which is kind of a lot.
Yeah, I have to, you know, give the dark underbelly of that story as well, which involves betraying David Greenwald, which is always funny. And because I promised him I would never take Tim Minear off of Angel. And a very good friend and a very wise woman, Marty Noxon, sat me down and said, "Joss, you need Tim on Firefly or you will never leave that set and the other shows will die." She was like, "The only thing that can make Firefly work when you're not around is Tim Minear, and you know it and you have to put him on that show, and you have to do the hard thing. And she was so right. It's the best move I ever made.
Thank you.
Jose, I'd love to ask a question of Jose. Like, what was it like to tell stories in this world? Because you could tell science fiction stories, you could tell Western stories, you could tell a little bit of both. Like, what was it like for you as a writer?
It was kind of like being a pig in shit, honestly. Under 18, a pig in fecal matter. I had been an assistant on Buffy and Angel. I was Howard Gordon's assistant, so I always felt kind of like the kid on the outside looking in and going, please let me play with the pretty toys. And then Firefly came along after I'd gotten my first gig, and I didn't even have to interview it because I knew Joss and I knew Tim. And so I was invited into the sandbox. And then, you know, it's just like, how hard do you geek out, and how hard do you sort of push your own tendencies, which mine were a little more traditional, Star Trek-y, sort of old-fashioned sci-fi. And our homework before we started work was to watch a lot of Westerns. So I tried to be as much of what I thought the guys wanted me to be, and pitch along what the whole staff was pitching and try to make it Westerny. And then ultimately what I wound up writing was the one with the spaceships and the core planet and all the pretty things and the laser guns and the, but it was literally a dream come true writing on the show, and completely heartbreaking when it went away.
I have to say, because it was Ariel where you were coming in and just coming up with this amazing heist plot stuff. And any writer will say, and then there's a cool heist, and everyone's like, yes! How do you do that? And you know, and my whole thing is, hey, what if they're sad? Hey, what if it's about his father? You know, but the actual, like, coming up with structure, and then that structure has meaning, like the stuff you did on that, I was like, oh, thank God we have someone who can do this. And then later on I'll add more sad. Maybe I'll kill somebody.
Sean, you figured prominently in the episode of Ariel. You're like the Danny Ocean of Imperial Hospital heists. I'd love to know, science fiction, Western, fusion of Western culture and Chinese cultures. This sounds kind of really weird. Love to know, kind of like dropping into the middle of this world at the very beginning. I mean, was it difficult? Was it challenging, or did you take to it easy?
Was it weird or awesome?
Yeah. Or was it? Yeah.
It was awesome. I think that's what I loved about it. That we, my first introduction to the world of Firefly actually came out of Joss's mouth. I don't even know if you remember. When we were first meeting the first actors, and we just had all I had was that Simon's speech in the pilot to go on, and so I had a lot of questions. So I had said to Joss, the first thing I said was, "Hey, please tell me about this world." So I got to hear it all come from this man's mouth, which was pretty extraordinary. I never once thought of it as science fiction. I don't know who coined the phrase a post-apocalyptic Western, but that's always how I spoke about the show, post-apocalyptic Western. Ariel to me is actually one of my favorite episodes for many reasons. I mean, just working with these guys was extraordinary. The writing was extraordinary. I love the way it looked. I love that Simon, sort of stepped up to the plate. And I think Tim had told me how Ocean's 11 it was after we shot that initial scene, which I got the night before. Thank you. But yeah, I don't even know what your question was. I'm still in a little bit of blur because you guys are so crazy.
Nathan, I have a question for you, which is that it's very obvious watching the show, whether you're a fan at the beginning or have discovered it on Science or DVD, that this cast really enjoyed working together, unless you were faking it really well. But the chemistry of the cast was really a key to the success of the show. What was it like creating that bond, among the cast while making the episodes?
Me? Yeah.
Yeah, you.
I'm glad you asked me. I can't help but think I should have been paying more attention to the question.
Can I answer?
Alan,
Go. What Nathan needs to say is right at the beginning of when we first started shooting the series, Nathan came up to all the actors and he goes, "All right, we're learning everybody's names. It's a contest. His name's Jim. His name's Alan. His name's Tom. His name's Brian. All right, I'm winning." And then took off. And so it became a game of learning everybody's name. And a lot of times actors and crew, they get separated, it just happens. You kind of go into your little camps. And that brought everybody together because we were walking around going, "Hi, Brian, hi, Jim, and Tim, and it brought us together as a family a lot. I think that was the biggest thing.
Cool.
It's important when they know the names of the staff.
Yeah.
Adam.
Mammy.
All right, moving on. Adam, I have a question for you, but we have a clip to set it up first, so let's roll the clip. Adam, we were talking before the panel about just sort of all the things that the actors brought to their characters, and in this moment, this is a great example of how you made a choice with this hat in the episode. Can you talk a little bit about the story of the hat?
Well, it works great. Talk through the hat without being muffled.
Now he's really talking through his head.
One of the women who worked in the office knitted a couple of these. She was a good knitter. You know knitters? She knitted well. She made two of these, and when I first looked at it, I was, "Oh, this is beautiful, great, terrific." And I made a conscious choice and talked with Tim, because Tim, this was the last episode we shot. Tim, I said, "Tim, can I wear it pretty much through the whole episode?" And he was like, "I don't know, maybe that's a little over." I'm doing it. Joss isn't here, I'm doing it. So then I was able to use it to take it off at the end to honor Tracy's parents, the survivors, because Tracy, we were burying him at the end there. So what was the question? Oh yeah, doings. I always like to have doings. Jane was a man of a few words, but he had a lot of props and stuff. So I worked real hard with the prop guys, and this hat just fit perfect. I mean, oh my God, this is a gold mine. This is like a birthday cake in a wasteland. It's just great.
And you made a choice to wear that through the whole episode, right?
Say again?
You made a choice to actually wear that throughout the entire episode. And
Tim agreed after I twisted his arm a little bit, so thank you for that. It turned out okay at the end. Thank you.
It turned out very well, but I feel like you're talking through your head.
Adam, I think that we have a special purpose for this hat, don't we?
I was asked to.
Oh God, it's gonna be a riot.
Well, how do we determine who answers the question?
What we're gonna do is we're gonna where's our line? Where's our line with the microphone? Right here.
There you are.
Adam has a question to ask, and the first person who gets it right is going to win this hat.
All right, here's a trivia question to win this beautifully knitted Jane replica hat.
It's a replica.
It's a replica. I'll tell you, the original one went for $5,000 to charity, so thank you. And the trivia question is, on which planet did Tracy wish to be buried?
Can I answer that?
Hey, come on now. What's your answer?
The name of the planet on which Tracy wished to be buried.
If you don't know, it's okay. You can ask your question. You won't lose your place in line. If
Don't know, you may have created the show.
All right.
Spencer Tracy.
This guy knows.
Whitefall?
Negative. Negative.
No.
One more guess?
Wait, everybody's going
One more
on.
guess. Yeah, go ahead, go again.
We got to do this quick. Everybody's on Google on their phones now.
Is it what? I just want you to know this gag was not my idea.
I'll tell you what. Let's move on. We will, if someone comes to the microphone during the Q&A portion and has the answer, we'll give away the house. All right.
Wait, Joss, do you remember?
Oh, I already admitted I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Just checking. Sweetie, I'm not sure who some of you are.
It's true.
It's just, I'm in a bit of a fog. Some of you may know from last night Raw. I don't know how you got the good seats, but that's cool.
Who was sleeping outside last night and got woken up by this guy? Did you think you were dreaming?
I have a question for Summer, but we have another clip first, so let's roll. Summer, River was a very mysterious character, lots of secrets, she's very troubled. But what was the key for you in playing that character?
Remembering myself at 17, which was like 2 years before. Pretty much it.
Joss, I'd just love to know. It's hard to hear up here sometimes. Joss, I'd love to know, just like how important were these actors in sort of bringing your vision to life? And you just talk about like casting like Summer, like why was she perfect for River?
You can't change your mind now. I already got cast.
Sure. George Lucas could. He could digitally make you a bad. I'm not saying we've had a meeting about it. I'm just saying. These, as I've said before, are honestly the finest meat puppets that I've ever controlled. And it's hard for me because I do remember the time before these people played these parts. I remember the audition process. I remember, you know, it was an incredibly long and ghastly process, quite frankly. And yet, then comes written history where these were the people before I wrote it. And I feel like somehow, at some point, I was in a hotel in London and I finished this book, you know, which is a story I've told many times, The Killer Angels, and was like, this is the story I want to tell, but with Han Solo in it. And I feel like the moment that happened, like all of them sort of like were somewhere just like went, like they became somebody else. And they didn't know it yet, but they were those people before they met me. And even if they hadn't been playing them or playing that particular type of person, it just, Summer is so crazy. And, you know, the amount of vulnerability and strength that she can convey is beyond magnetic. It is, you know, I look at her and I think I will come with her if I want to live.
And Joss, why was Nathan the perfect captain for the Serenity? Why was Nathan Fillion the perfect captain for Serenity?
Okay. You know, you have to make compromises at some point. But before I wax lyrical, I just want to say one other thing. Watching that, because I haven't watched the show in a while, Jewel makes me cry, and Gina is the most badass woman I've ever seen. really is absurd. The people who are not here, my heart is breaking that they're not here. Not just to experience this, but because I miss them so much. And that's ridiculous, because look what I got. But I'm still greedy and I want more. I want the whole set. I got two, one that I can keep in the box, well, in a jar in my basement, and the other that I can play with for real. The captain. I don't know how to first of all, I know that no matter what I say, he's gonna make a face, and it's gonna change the context of whatever I'm saying. So I feel like I'll stare at you. Restraint, dignity. These are the things you look for. There was never a moment from the time we met where I did not think you were the captain. And anybody who knows the history of what went after the show, up to and including a party at your house like 3 weeks ago, knows that Nathan is the captain. The thing that, Alan will say, he is there to make sure that everybody is having the best time doing their best work. That's partially the job of the executive producer or the director. The DP also has a big influence on the crew, but the captain of a ship and the star of a show both have a responsibility that most actors are not up to or ignore, or even if they're trying to do it, they can't convey the enormous gravitas that this clown can. And to have a man who, when he looks at you, you go, and he's not happy with you. And I know, and I think we can all remember, we had a visiting actor who was very disrespectful to some of the females in the cast. And he got a taste of what Nathan's like when somebody threatens his loved ones. Just a little piece. You don't want that. You don't want Nathan. He gets very Canadian. And Alan's in it too.
I think we should get into fan questions here pretty quick. Just two more questions before we do that. Adam, I'd love to hear just like what has the fan phenomenon, the brown coats have kept this thing alive for 10 years. What has it meant to you?
Kelly Wheeler was a woman who worked in our office, and she was assistant to Gareth Davies, our production manager, producer, and she introduced us all to the online community, and that outreach that got to us, and the feedback that fans were able to give to us over time really was inspirational. And I was talking about this earlier today, that upon cancellation of the film, I ran up to Joss's office because I had been not on the set when the announcement was made, and I saw him diligently trying to get it back up in the air, and I saw this look of determination in his eyes, and I never gave up hope. And the feedback from the fan, I was never able to say anything, it was always up to Joss, but when the fan community that was interacting with us at that point, they never gave up, and I think Joss understood that you never gave up, and so he never did either. So one of the most heartwarming and wonderful times of my entire life was watching that show be resurrected as a major motion picture. Couldn't have done it without you guys.
I sometimes look back and I think of the movie Serenity as one of the finest nervous breakdowns a man could possibly have.
It's expensive.
It was, I was inconsolable, and it changed me. And it changed the way I work, and it changed the way I operate, because there was no way, there was no reality where I would not get these people back together. There was just none. I've never been that before. And really, I don't give a shit about anything since. So that was the one time. It was almost like being a man. Or so I have read.
Let's go to the audience. Where's our first question?
St. Albans. I didn't use
Winner!
Okay. Actual question. First, the show has saved my life. That's kind of the only way I can put it without talking for 10 minutes. But thank you for that. Okay, action. I can speak. What is your favorite pants story? Just crazy, run into a brown coat on the street and say, "Hey, Ken," which I saw on Twitter once, Nathan, and stuff. I'm not gonna pan out of really.
Hey. Speaking of Twitter, last night I saw on Twitter there were some folks hanging out in line. I ran down there. You guys were down there, I don't know what time you lined up, but at 8 o'clock, I came down like 11:30, and you were all there and you were very nice, so thank you for that. I heard there were some other people too. And I got a cupcake. Spiked. Not really. Wait a minute. Please be aware that many members of your audience may be under the age of 18
years of age.
Looks like our contest winner has her hat on. Can we get a shot?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm so happy Claire Danes won the hat.
All right, next question.
It didn't get answered.
You want your crazy? Okay, so one crazy fan story.
That was my crazy
fans.
Crazy.
Is this about?
That's what she asked.
Bad timing. Oh, sorry. I watched one time when a woman walked up to you, Joss, we were in the foyer of a building, and a woman walked up to you and made to speak and broke down into tears.
I kicked her.
Which surprised me because I didn't know you very well. But now I do. But much like you said, and that it always warms my heart when people say it had an effect. When you say it saved your life, obviously this woman, you touched her in a when people are moved, I like that.
Do you remember the time? Do you remember the time that we were off the air for 10 years? And then,
Like it was
like
yesterday.
thousands of people showed up to see us anyway. Remember that?
It makes me wish I brought something cool along to show you, but I just wish I was thinking ahead.
All right, next question.
Yes. Muzzle management.
Hi, is Enora's missing storyline ever going to be put into a graphic novel? And if not, can you fill us in on what it was?
I'm sure Miranda's gonna tweet about it or something.
Or maybe Tim will talk about
Hey,
it
somebody
in the
said that
Science
Ben
Channel
Edlund already
panel
spilled
just
it.
did.
Oh! Yeah, you know what? I do actually. You really told everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It won't air. It hasn't aired
Almost
yet.
think the deal.
Only on the Science Channel.
Yeah, it hasn't aired yet, so you can go ahead and.
No, I'm not gonna say anything, but I am gonna say that Dark Horse, which has been doing the Firefly and the Serenity books, they keep changing their name because the rights keep floating from Universal to Fox, and it's very strange. But it's our peeps. They're their biggest selling books of all time. They're bigger than Buffy. They're bigger than Hellboy. They're bigger than anything else they have. The biggest hardcover they've ever sold was The Shepherd's Tale. This is true, which is, the work of myself and a brilliant young man named Zach Whedon. Chris Samney, and so we're going to be continuing with that. Zach and I just spent some time figuring out how to do some comics actually moving forward in the future and not just telling stories from the past, because we started talking about it and we came up with all this amazing cool shit. So it's just I didn't think of it as a comic. But apparently I was the only one. So look forward to that. And I want to thank Dark Horse for carrying that banner, because they were pretty fierce about hounding me about getting it done.
Question.
Good afternoon, I'm Moses on the Twitter. And I'd like to know from the panel if you have a particularly favorite piece of fan art, tribute, or fiction you'd like to share with us.
Alan, your sister.
Oh, yeah!
It still hangs in my house.
Oh, that's so cool!
And I still have yet to thank her for it.
Oh, yeah! Well, she'll probably be able to watch this on YouTube at some point. But yeah, my sister is an artist, and when we were canceled, I asked her to make a painting. I commissioned her to do this painting of Joss protecting a firefly in a jar.
Nice.
From some evil Fox executives. And she did it really cool because I think her body is the jar, and the arms, and she's a really good artist.
Executives are all just hanging suits with faces on
Yeah,
them.
that's true.
It's a beautiful painting. It has me in it. It's made me feel really weird, but it's just so gorgeous. And then now I look at it, with enough critical distance of get over the fact that it's about that you're in it, and just go, this is the exact story of what happened. It's so beautifully rendered, and it's so dark, and it's gorgeous. Best.
Nice.
There's a guy here, Jason Palmer.
Jason Palmer, yeah.
He does really neat stuff. He's a very talented guy. I like that when he draws my face. It looks just like me, only better looking.
And pretty soon he's going to do some nudes.
Only better looking.
Yeah.
Next question.
Hi guys. After hearing a bunch of the crew members on various DC animated shows, would you ever consider doing Firefly as an animated series?
I get it, but for some reason I would be more interested in doing it as a radio show.
And we know a little something like this.
Close your eyes.
Watch.
Sorry, I was asleep.
Looks like we're heading into Admiral. I'm gonna need you at the bridge.
Ah, yeah, sure thing, Captain. God dang it.
Hey Zoe, what up? Now that he's gone. What do you say? Oh,
Hey, Captain, you're still down in my room. Get out of there. Now, so I should say something really, really smart, really informative and intelligent.
I think you might have a fever.
A fever? That's another thing.
and the only cure is more Firefly.
Next question.
Question for Joss. Firefly, one of the things I loved about Firefly was the exploration of the fusion of Asian and American cultures. Many Asian Americans go through a similar journey. I was wondering if you would explore that again in the future, if you would be willing to include Asian or Asian American performers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not a mission statement in terms of who I'm casting for a particular thing. It was a mission statement with the show to say, you know, there's cultures inevitably blend, even if it happens through conquest and violence. Even if one country invades another, eventually they incorporate it. I like the utopian idea that the two greatest superpowers on Earth at this point sort of had melded instead of just being pissy with each other. And you know, I think, again, when I said immigrant story, I meant that specifically. I wanted, you know, the cultures to just to show the way you look back and what you think of as what's going on. And then, to wrap it up, I got a lot of flack from one Asian journalist who kept asking why I cast an Asian woman as Sean Marr's sister. That didn't make any sense. And he was very angry about it. Yeah.
Wait a second.
All right, next question.
Hi, everybody. Oh, that's me. Oh, okay, sorry. So, 10 years after Firefly's over, you guys are still getting a lot of love from your fans, from the internet. I'm wondering if you just feel really proud of what you did, or if a part of you is like, well, where are these screaming people a decade ago?
It's a good point.
In fairness,
Totally.
In preschool, I think.
Yeah.
I love it when people apologize to me. Like, I'm really sorry. I didn't see the show till it was on DVD. I was like, so you didn't see the show until I got paid for it? So you had to buy it from me? God damn you! You know what? That was never a question. The 27 people who saw it when it aired loved it.
I said this earlier today, so forgive me if you're going to hear it again. I said earlier that when Firefly died, I thought it was the worst thing that could possibly happen. And what I realize now, 10 years later, looking out over this room, is that the worst thing that could have happened is if it had stayed dead. That it died is okay. That you guys are here.
All right, next question.
Can we just, everybody just tweet that I said that? I don't want him to have the best.
Relax, relax. Let's listen to the lady with an amazing t-shirt. This girl seems extremely intelligent to me, and I want to know what she's got on her mind.
Well, it's actually also my birthday, so the best way to spend it. And I wanted to know if you guys have ever camped out all night long for something, and if you have, what was it?
Camping. And happy birthday again.
I did camping once, but I called my mom to come pick me up in the middle of the night. I never stayed overnight. I was scared. I wanted to go home.
The longest I camped would have been like a Baby Jane and then some other great gay classic.
All right, next question. Nothing to camp out for up there.
We have time for one more question.
Better make it good.
Pressure.
I like you, Coke.
No pressure.
Yes.
Hey, had you known that season 1 would be the last season of Firefly, how would the finale have differed from Serenity?
Would have been littler. A lot of the Reavers would have been off screen. There would have been, oh my God, look at those ones over there as well. Are also there. In addition to the two you can see. Not many people realize that when Firefly was being made, it had a smaller budget than both Buffy and Angel. It was the cheapest show we were making, which to me, when I watch it, is extraordinary. But apart from that, I think obviously a couple of things would have been different. Even if they had canceled the show and I absolutely knew that that was the end of the show, I don't think I would have killed anybody. Film is a different animal and has different needs, and I think we would have delved more heavily into the Blue Sun conspiracy aspect of it, which we had to drop for the movie, which I was sorry about. And we would have learned about Book, and we would have learned about Inara. And for some reason, that's the question that's going to make me cry. That's okay. You know what? That is a good last question.
Before we wrap up and ask Joss one more question, we'd like to roll a clip. Joss, just one more question for you, Joss, which is, "We're Still Flying" has become a big mantra of the fan community. If you could just put in perspective, just one last time, like, what do the fans mean to you?
Only an idiot would actually try to follow that with a sentence. When you come out of a great movie, I'm assuming this happens to other people too, you feel like you're in that world. Like you come out of Brazil and suddenly everything is duck piping and everything is bureaucracy and everybody's weird and everything's too much. You know, you come out of these certain things and the world has become that. When you're telling a story, you are trying to connect to people in a particular way. It's not just about what you want to say, it's about inviting them into a world. And the way in which you guys have inhabited this world, this universe, have made you part of it, part of the story. You are living in Firefly. When I see you guys, I don't think the show's off the air. I don't think there's a show. I think that's what the world is like. I think there's spaceships. I think there's horses. I think it's going on in all of us. The story is alive.
One more round of applause for all of them up here. Thank you.
Once again, the cast, the creators.
We're going to pose for one more picture.
Of Serenity, Firefly. Thank you all so very much.